Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Okay, let me introduce myself. I'm Bram. I talk about all things fashion, luxury, lifestyle, shopping, and travel. So if those are things that are interesting to you, I would love it if you would hit subscribe and join me here a few times a week to talk about this stuff. Okay, that's my animals. My dog is freaking out. She's chasing the cat. It's just it's beautiful outside today. So the terrace door is open. So I don't know what you guys hear. I'm hoping it comes out clear, but it's a beautiful breeze and it's really nice. So I don't want to close the door. Anyway, let's talk. And hopefully Carol will be a good girl. Carol. Anyway, welcome. All right, that was a chaotic intro, but welcome. I'm so glad you are here. Let's talk. So today I wanted to talk about just like the most exciting things that I'm watching right now. I like to do this every once in a while to show you guys what I'm loving and what I'm stalking and what I'm watching and just what I'm like into, because I feel like it changes often, you know, and like sometimes I will grab a few pieces that I'm interested in, but never really all of it. But I have 11 things that I want to talk about with you guys that I am super like interested in and just like really wanting to either hunt down, or I'm loving the look, I'm watching videos about it, things like that. So maybe if you're not watching these things, maybe it'll give you some ideas, or if you're feeling like maybe like uninspired, like in fashion right now, or just like it's just you feel like it's not interesting, because I go through that quite a lot, that maybe this will help you kind of, I don't know, find something that you're interested in, or give you some inspiration in terms of like just wearing something a little bit different, you know. All right, so let's talk. All right. Number one, I don't know if any of you actually, if you follow me, if this is the first time you're seeing me, then I would say, I think it's the last video that I did. I showed you guys a pair of Doc Martens that I got, and I said it was a fail because they're a little bit small. However, I'm in the process of I don't have them. I will put a picture up here. I am in the process of getting them stretched, and so they stretched them. I picked them up, still too tight. I went back and I was like, just be super aggressive. Like, I don't even care if you beat the shoes up, because I actually like how Doc Martens look when they're like beat to shit anyway. They look better when they're like used. I don't think Docs look good when they're like pristine. That's not the type of shoe that they are, you know what I mean? So anyway, I got like an amazing pair of, and I think they're like super underrated because they don't go for too much. Like, you can find them at a pretty good deal. Low version. Oh, I love them so much. Now, I would also love to get the high version, but I like high Docs better, but I feel like in Florida, like, am I really going to wear a pair of boots? I have a bunch of boots. I don't wear them anyway. So like, am I going to do that? I feel like the low ones, possibly I can wear them to work. Like, I will make them work, especially now. It's like 60 something degrees outside. So like in the winter here, for sure, you can make a pair of like low Docs work. Anyway, they're stretching them. But the reason that I even found those was because I was on the hunt for the Marc Jacobs collaboration with Doc Marten. There's two different versions. I'm going to put a picture up of both. One is the black version. I think it has like a platform. And then there's another version that doesn't have the platform, which I actually like better, but is much harder to find, because I think this collaboration is, I think it's like 10 years old. I might be wrong on that, but I think it's quite old. Okay. Anyway, the other ones is like a burgundy version. And so they have like charms in the back. You'll see from the pictures, but I love them so much. Sorry for the outside noise, guys. I have been watching them. I have my like spidey senses out, just like, I haven't seen them in my size yet. That's the problem. The Basquiat collaboration with Docs, I got in an 8. A 9 is too big for me. An 8 is too small for me. I don't know where to go with this. Although I have had many pairs of Docs in my life, like the boots. The 9s fit me fine, but the low 9s do not. So I don't know. I don't know how safe it is for me to even like buy anymore, but I don't know. But I love them. And if I can find, I won't make the same mistake. If I can find the Marc Jacobs ones in a woman's 9, I will definitely grab them if the price is right, but definitely want the burgundy pair. I think they're so cute. Okay. That's number one. Number two, I've been into like chunky rings. I have a lot of rings, but I don't have a lot of rings that fit like all the fingers, you know? So I have been trying to kind of add like more, like, I think I'm good. Part of my video about like what I'm not buying this year, I said I was probably not, I didn't say probably, I said I was not going to buy designer jewelry. I think I'm good for the moment. There are things that I want, but for this year specifically, that's not really my focus. My focus is more on like just special pieces, bags, maybe some costume jewelry. I know how people feel about costume jewelry, especially like Chanel and whatever. Honestly, I repurchased these for my birthday this year, and in the last 2 weeks since I've had them, I've probably worn them more than I wore them the first time that I had them. So I have to say that this was like a really good buy. Like, I almost every day I want to put these on. I actually really, really love them. So I have never been one to feel like Chanel costume jewelry is not a good investment. Is an investment? No. However, it does hold its value. Like, if you treat it right, it does hold its value. I may or may not have another piece of Chanel costume jewelry coming at some point soon anyway. So you guys will see that when it comes, which I'm super excited about. However, I actually love costume jewelry because I am not going to, you know, spend like gold money. You know how high gold, you know what gold costs right now? I'm not spending gold money on a pair of, sorry, I know this is like really picks up the noise. I'm not going to spend gold money on like a pair of dog tags, right? I'm not going to spend, I don't know. I mean, you know, yes, Chanel costume jewelry is expensive, but I think it's very much worth it. Okay. So that, I mean, you know, I do think it's worth it. I do. I think that you just need to keep it in good shape. Like, my oldest pair of, this is a tangent, but my oldest pair of Chanel earrings are just a plain CC. I got them in Bloomingdale's probably in 2002. Just totally plain. They're like half the size, well, not even half the size, maybe like a quarter smaller than this. They're a really good size, and I've had them for 24 years? Oh my God, 24 years at this point. And the back is just starting to like, it feels like it's about to snap off. But like 24 years for a pair of costume earrings, I don't think that the quality is bad. I have a pair of, these all have stones in it. I know how people feel about like Chanel jewelry and the stones. I've only had a problem with one thing, and the stones. I have a neck, like a pearl necklace that is missing a few pearls. I do have the pearls though. I just have to figure out how to like reattach them because it's so old that I know Chanel's not helping me. Chanel probably wouldn't help me anyway. But, and I have a pair of Chanel pearl earrings like this, just with pearls on it. I've also had those probably since 2008 or 9, no problems. So for me, like, if you don't beat your shit up, I think it's okay. I think it's a good investment in my opinion, especially if you're going to wear it. And like, it does hold its value, so whatever. But that was a total tangent because I'm really talking about something else, but I am talking about costume jewelry. So one of the pieces of costume jewelry that I would love to get is the YSL Artie ring. I have been watching it for a while. So I remember when it first came out, and I loved them then, but I wasn't so much into like the chunky rings. I go in and out of love with like chunky rings, and sometimes I don't want anything on my fingers. Honestly, it depends on on the weight that I am, because my fingers will gain weight. Normally, I have pretty slim fingers, but when I am heavier, whatever. So the point is that there are times when I don't want to buy rings because I don't want them to not fit. And then with something like an Artie ring or something, like, I wasn't going to go in and get it like adjusted. So I was just like, I just didn't really look into it that much. Now, however, I have been watching them for quite a few years. What has spurred on me like being super interested in them is somebody that I watch, Jeronica Mycia, who I hope I'm saying her name right, but I love her. I watch her all the time. She has she has a few Artie rings, and they just look so cute. I love them. She has like a blue. I mean, I would want like a turquoise or like a lapis color. Like white is beautiful. I love all of them. The only reason that I have not pulled the trigger on one yet is because it's very hard to find bigger sizes. Now, I'm not a big size, right? I could do this is my bigger hand because it's my right hand. I know this is flipped, but this finger for such a thick ring, right? So that I am not totally like suffocated. My fingers aren't suffocated. I would say I would need like a 7, right? Or so I'm looking for like a 7 or an 8. If I was to do it on this finger, this is a 7, this is a 6, whatever. But most of the rings, if you notice, they come in like a 4 or a 5. Sometimes a 6. I'm scared that a 6 is just like cutting it too close. So I am still on the hunt for an arty ring. I love them. I think they're so cool. I feel like they're super on trend right now specifically, but in general, just such a good statement ring. And the truth is that a statement ring doesn't really go out of style. And I feel like the arty specifically has kind of passed over into the threshold of being a modern classic, you know? So I think it's fine. Next would be the Vivian Westwood heart bag. So these dogs just moved in next door and they bark all the freaking time and Carol loses her mind. Normally she's not a very barky dog, but let her hear somebody else's dogs and she loses her mind. Carol, mind your business, puppy. Mind your business, baby. Okay. Next would be the Vivian Westwood heart bag. Okay, so I know Vivian Westwood is having a moment. I'm actually very much into a lot of Vivian Westwood things right now. Back in the day, like early 2000s, I had a really cool print. I cannot find this bag again in the exact way that I had it, but I had one of her bags, like those triangle looking bags, right? I don't even remember what they're called. And I loved it so much and I have no idea why I got rid of it, honestly. Probably I wanted to sell it to get something new in. That was what I did. And I know a lot of us do, but I definitely want it. I want the heart bag, however. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I originally wanted the what is it? I think it's the Moschino heart bag that Fran Drescher, the nanny, wore, and I was like super like into it, watching it. And then obviously the Vivian Westwood is much, much less expensive. You can find it for around like $400 or whatever, but I think it's super cute. I was very tempted because Coach had them last year at some point. They had like some really cool shaped bags and I just wasn't in my like Coach moment yet. Now I am. Now if they came out with a heart bag again, I would get it. But I'm kind of kicking myself because I really, really like those and whatever. But yes, so the Vivian Westwood heart bag right now, I like it. I don't know if I'm going to grab it or not, but I really, really do like it. I am a sucker for a heart bag. I do have the Louis Vuitton heart bag from the Game On collection, which I rarely ever wear, honestly. But I feel like maybe I would wear the Vivian Westwood more because it would be like one color. It's not like a monogram or whatever. So I would love to get it in like a red or something. And that way it's like a nice pop of color. Plus I don't really have a red bag. So anyway, all the thoughts going through my head. Okay. Next would be okay, so this is just a category of things that I am watching, okay? This is the Chanel Gripois jewelry and bags. Okay, so I fell down this rabbit hole. Oh, let me think how it started. What goes around comes around posted a picture of a bag. So this girl that I follow, Lydia, if any of you follow her, um, her collection of bags is amazing, and she looks so cool all the time, right? So so she posted some, like she works at What Goes Around Comes Around, which I have to get to at some point in time. Although I do think their prices are a little high, but it's undoubtedly they have the best curated collection of vintage and just pre-loved items in general. And honestly, like I feel like their stuff they make sure that the condition of their things is like top notch. Okay, so she posted a picture of this bag. Oh my God, so incredibly stunning. The price is actually not so bad. However, it sent me on a wild goose chase trying to find other things like what is this thing? What is this bag? And I fell down this rabbit hole of Gripois. So apparently, I'm sure some of you know this, and I am maybe one of the only people, maybe in the dark, who is an actual Chanel lover. But this missed me. This was honestly, I would say that most of my knowledge comes from like the early 2000s era. However, I do love 90s Chanel. It's actually my favorite era of Chanel, period, right? However, I did not know about this. I knew, okay, Actually, no, I knew about it. I knew the look, but I didn't know what it was called. Okay. And I didn't know the bags existed, but I do love the jewelry, like Chanel's jewelry that is from this line. I've always loved. It is very Chanel, very like Madonna, like a virgin, very like it's just a very specific time frame in my mind, early to like mid 90s, I would say, even late 80s, like very opulent, very over the top. Like I love it. So anyway, apparently Gripois, if I am not mistaken, because I don't have my notes in front of me, but well, I do have notes, but not about this. Apparently Gripois is a jewelry company that specializes in like blown glass, right? And so it's not actual stones, but the glass looks like stones, and they're all in like very saturated jewel tones, which I love. I actually don't think they look the best on me, but I do love it. I do love it. Anyway, and then I realized that a lot of the stuff that I have been buying lately, like from like En Route Jewelry and whatever, is very like Gripois inspired. So it all makes sense to me now. However, I have been kind of going down the rabbit hole. The jewelry is absolutely stunning. At some point, I would love to add a beautiful pendant to my Chanel jewelry collection. They also have non-Chanel Gripois, like if you look at Poshmark and whatever, some really great stuff that it just falls into, again, that time frame, which I love. And it looks very Chanel, even though it's not. And I guess it's just because of their collaboration together that it reminds probably everybody who knows about that, or who is into Chanel. It just probably reminds everybody of that moment in time with Chanel. But such good stuff. They have a few bags that I'm kind of staring at. One is the camera bag with the tassel. I love it so much. It's so cute. It's very hard to find this bag in good condition. But I have my feelers out in general. I have been going down, again, the rabbit hole of just Gripois in general, plus inclusive of Chanel, but not limited to just Chanel stuff. But like, you can have a field day with that if you're like interested. Next, Louis Vuitton X Alaia bag. If you don't know what this is, I have known about this bag forever, but it wasn't something that I was like super interested in, and it wasn't until I actually saw it on, and this is why I love-hate relationship with social media, of course, right? But this is why I love like following certain fashion creators, because I love getting inspiration for things from them, and certain things that I have looked at and I'm like, I don't want it, or I'm not interested in it. All of a sudden you see it styled on somebody and you're like, wait a minute, maybe I have to like rethink this, right? So this bag is the collaboration with Alaia. I think it was from 97, if I'm not mistaken. Before my time being interested in Louis Vuitton, I got interested maybe in 99 or 2000 in Louis Vuitton specifically. But so a little bit before that, but I have seen it for years and years and years because it was always on eBay. It's always on secondhand sites, whatever. But it wasn't until I saw, I think it's Abby Silverstein. I hope I'm right. Anyway, her style is incredible. I love her. I love her stuff. I love her style. It's so over the top and fun, and very like Peggy Bundy slash, I don't know. Very, very Mob Wives, very like early 90s, but like also like with the hair and stuff. Like it's not red, but like, I don't know. I don't know. If any of you guys follow her, let me know what you think as well, because her style, I love it so much. Anyway, she, I guess somewhere along the line recently actually got that bag with the leopard, and it is like the Alma with like, it looks like it's kind of like wrapped in the leopard print, and there's like a knot on top, so you hold it like that. Anyway, I was never interested in it because I felt like it looked sort of like weird to carry. But it's not for comfort. Like that bag is not for comfort. It's not going to be the only bag that you have, right? It's going into a collection where it has a certain place in that collection where you take it out for certain types of events or whatever. So anyway, I love that bag so much now. I'm like obsessed with it. They initially came with like a whole bunch of stuff in addition to the bag. So it was like, I think like a compact, maybe a little makeup case, all in like, I think it's fur. So I think it's like pony hair or whatever. Anyway, I would love the set, yes, but I don't need the set. Like just the bag is fine. I don't know when I would grab this. It would have to be a great deal because I don't think it's a very like user-friendly bag. It's definitely for like it's just definitely for the look. It's not for the function, you know? And yeah, but I love it and I'm into it and I have been stalking. I'm literally watching like 17 of them on Poshmark and I'm hoping to find a good price at some point when I'm ready to pull the trigger on that, you know? Next would be, and this is one that I told you guys was going to be coming back, and I stand by my word on that, the Gucci Indie bag. Okay. Um, we know that the Mombasa bag, I just talked about this maybe in my last video. I don't really know. One of the last videos. The Mombasa bag is back in a big way. All of the bags that literally nobody could sell 2 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe actually, let's say before COVID, right? When nobody could sell those things for more than like 150. Now they're like $1,500 for like super used ones. So if you are looking at the Mombasa bag, honestly, I think that the Mombasa bag's like more over the top maximalist cousin is the indie bag. I love the tassels. I love how like 2010s, I hate the word coded, but it's true. Very 2010s coded, very over the top, almost like too much going on, but in like the best way possible, right? They have many different iterations of it, like a million. You could get it with the monogram. You could get it with with patent leather. You could get it with like, there's just so many ways that you could, there's so many versions of this bag and I just love almost all of them. You can find them for like $500-$600 on the real. Anyway, I'm looking for my perfect one. I don't know what it will be. I don't know when it will be, but I know it will find me. And I can't wait to show you guys when it does. I actually am really leaning towards maybe this in like a burgundy or something. Those go pretty quick. So anyway, but it's beautiful. It comes in multiple different sizes. I would go for the biggest size. I actually think that the strap or like the hard bar, right, that makes it sort of like the indie bag is actually pretty comfortable. So yeah, like I think it's like it's functional, it's beautiful, it is a statement piece, and it is so in line with like what's going on out there in fashion right now. In terms of like, again, like the hard handles, like just that shape and everything. And I think just the better way to go. Like if you missed the boat on the Mombasa, get the indie before you miss the boat on that too. Because I believe that they will go up. I know it. I know they will. Okay, next. Gucci, do you say Dionysus or do you say Dionysus? So I say Dionysus. I would say I have been staring lately at the Gucci do I say Dionysus? Dionysus bags? I don't know. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. I had the cat one. I sold it like an idiot. It's back on my list to buy again. I would love to buy the cat. You can actually so the reason that I'm looking at them, just to be clear, is that they are very cheap right now. And the amount of beautiful versions that came out in like that 16, 17, 18 era with Gucci when they like kind of like reinvented themselves and everything was like super maximalist and they were like the it brand of the moment. My cat's in here. That's another story. Okay. I would say there were so many good, like incredible versions. And right now where nobody is looking at this, it's time. It's definitely time to grab one. It is 100% time to grab one. I think I'm going to go for the cat again, but I do have quite a few that I'm watching. I'm looking for the best deal possible, but I know they're going to come back because they will. I would say 5 years from now, they're all going to be in like $3,000 a piece. I bet you anything. So if you are interested in the bag, especially the ones with like all the patches and stuff, those are going for super cheap right now. And I am going to grab one before the price sneaks up because I know it will. Next, I'm almost done, guys. Vintage Polo. I am super into vintage Polo right now. Now, I've talked about this before on my channel. I love Polo. I loved Polo in high school. It was all we wore was Polo and DKNY mainly for like the majority of the late 90s. I would say from 96 to 2000, that was what I wore. I do have a few select pieces that I kept in my wardrobe. A lot of it is in boxes, so I couldn't even tell you, but I do have I have some teddy bear sweaters from the 90s. I have like some flag sweaters from the 90s. I have some, I think I have one or two pairs of like spandex with the Polo written somewhere. Yeah, so I have a few things. but not that many. And I have been like some of the stuff that I had that I absolutely loved back then, which it's sad because there's very little photographic evidence. And I would love to see what I wore and how I wore it. I mean, I have pictures, but those are also in storage. But you know, like we didn't take pictures every day. We didn't take multiple pictures of our outfits. Every time you looked cute, you didn't take a picture. You just went outside and lived life. So there were a bunch of really cool things that I had in the late 90s that I would love to find again. Like I had an amazing Polo Sport cycling shirt. I had a pair of spandex. I used to call them spandex, but like, you know, like leggings or whatever with like the Polo Sport written on one leg on the side. Yeah, there was a lot of things like windbreakers. I had like polo ski, a pair of sweatpants. I don't know. There was a lot of things. And some of it, who knows where it went? Who knows when I got rid of it? I mean, it's been a very long time, but like almost 30 years. But I do have some pieces. And so at some point, I will go through my storage room and try to find it. But in the meantime, I have been on eBay and Poshmark like religiously looking for good deals on some Polo Sport jackets specifically. And I'm also into new Polo as well. I feel like Polo has kind of staged a little bit of a comeback. Like their stuff is looking really good again. And I think that they, for a while, I associated them with just like the outlets and I felt like they had kind of gone downhill. But I think that like in like the recent, like I would say the last year or two, I feel like there's been multiple things in store. Now prices nowadays, ridiculous, which is why I'm looking vintage. But in general, like I feel like they're staging a comeback and I like it a lot. Or I feel like the comeback has come. Like I like it, you know? So that's one. Next one would be Chanel Sport. So again, a lot of the mentions that I've made in the past of Polo and Polo Sport and whatever has been because I've been talking about like the Chanel Sport line. And I kind of put them hand in hand. It was around the same time period. There was a certain look in the early 2000s, late 90s with just the way that like Polo was and just, there was a certain look in those days. And Chanel Sport is like right up there in that same kind of, I don't know. It just went. It just went. And I don't know how to explain that. Like if you don't remember it and you weren't there, it's very hard for me to explain it because it might only exist in my head, but I'm sure other people, if you were there and you remember that stuff, you might remember, especially obviously in the times before social media. Obviously I feel like everybody had kind of a different style. So New York style was different than like LA style, for example, or maybe like if you're from the Midwest or wherever you're from, like your area had its own thing. So in the late 90s, New York City, and like, I guess a specific like group of people, right? Like there was just a certain look. It was Polo Sport. It was North Face. It was, what did we wear? Averex, Tim's, Dunks, Uptowns. Like there was just a certain look. And so if you're from that era, like myself, I would love to hear from you. I don't know. But I think it was such a, like a niche kind of moment in time. And like not many people might know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, enough of that. The point is that I just like that whole era in my mind. I'm just kind of like, I'm back there and loving just everything I wore back then and whatever. So like those are the things that I'm watching. So again, vintage Polo, Chanel Sport, same thing, sort of in my opinion, just very like, they're like cousins kind of. You know, you had like Hilfiger, you had like Nautica, you had DKNY Sport, just like that was like just all of that together was like a look. I don't know how to explain it, but anyway, I am watching all of those things. In terms of Chanel Sport specifically, I just got a little crossbody bag that I really, really love actually. And I am looking at this one as well. This one's a little more expensive, which is why I went with the other one initially, but I really like the other one. So I don't know if I need to, but I do love the way that it looks. Yeah, like there's a bunch of really good Chanel Sport line items out there if you kind of go down that rabbit hole. Also like windbreaker, a lot of like little like sporty jackets, a lot of good clothes came from that line. I don't know how many years that line lasted for, but it was a few and it was very early 2000s. If you guys know, I got my Surfline flat bag not too long ago, and that was one that I had been, after for a long time, that I had a dupe of or whatever. It was fake. I didn't question anything. It was probably 2000 or 2001 when I got it. And I always kind of kicked myself for throwing it away, although I do know that it was 100% not authentic. So the one that I got now, I always wanted to replace it with the real one. I found one. It's stunning. But that Surfline is also kind of in line with the Chanel Sport moment. It was a lot of red, white, and blue, and silver, and I don't know, it was just very sporty, obviously, as the name would suggest, right? Next, I'm into primary colors at the moment, and this actually will lead me into the very last one that I have to mention. So I'm into primary colors. I have mentioned to you guys before that I am not a fan of primary colors, that it reminds me of like a kindergarten classroom. It reminds me of like show and tell and snack time, and I don't know why. I guess I know why that is. They're primary colors, and a lot of primary color, like a lot of kids' things are in primary colors, right? But I don't know what my aversion to them has been, but they are growing on me, and rapidly, actually. So there are two things that I am looking at specifically in the primary color, like fashion realm. One would be these Nike Riffs. And again, that kind of leads me into the last one, which is Nike Riffs. I'm looking at these. I am definitely going to get a pair within the next few weeks, I would say, in time for summer, although I can wear them whenever out here, but definitely in time for summer. I love that they're primary colors. They're very like Legoland, and I don't know, I love it. And then the other thing that I'm looking at, and it's actually very hard to find, and I actually am thinking about, there's not many things that I can't track down, but I am thinking about maybe getting someone to find it for me, because I feel like this one that is listed I really feel like it is very, I feel like it's a scam. Something about the listing and the person, I don't know. I'm just concerned. So I am looking at this bag though. So I have been wanting a Balenciaga city bag. Obviously I've had millions. I've had so many of them, and I've sold them, and now obviously the price is up, but they are such a good bag, like a functional bag. And I'm kind of mad that I've gotten rid of all of the ones that I've had up until this point, because quite honestly, I mean, I can count at least like 7 or 8 over the years that I've had, and I've loved them all, but for whatever reason, I've just sold, because I always thought like, oh, I can get another one for a few $100, because that's really what they were going for. Right now, they are definitely up in price. They move very quickly. We talked about this actually a few months ago when I told you that the things that I was noticing online in terms of patterns was that the minute that the Balenciaga city bags, city, first, twiggy, work, like part-time, like all of those versions were getting posted on like Fashion File, The Real, whatever, for like decent prices, gone in like 3 minutes. You couldn't even check out quick enough to, like it was like bots. I don't even know. Somebody was buying them up super, super quick. So now they're more expensive, obviously, but I want a special one. And I have a few that I have my eye on, but this one I think might be my favorite. And I don't know why. Like I said, I'm into the primary colors at the moment. I think they're super cool for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I do really, really love this. It comes in the work, and it comes in the city. The work is actually listed on Grailed, and I've never bought from Grailed before, but the seller who is selling it doesn't respond to me. So, and it's priced really, really low. So I'm assuming that that was just something that was posted like a million years ago, and left and forgotten about or whatever. The other one is from somebody that is actually active on Poshmark, but I don't think his pictures are his, because he also has a Chanel bandana bag that I have mentioned to you guys many times before that I would like to buy. But he uses the same exact pictures as one that was sold out on eBay from Japan. And there's something going on there that I'm like, I don't know. It makes me nervous, but I do want to find this at some point at a decent price. I think it's super cool. So anyway, that's my list, guys. Those are the things that I'm interested in right now, among other things, because I'm always interested in many things. But for the moment, that's the deal. So if you have made it this far, I know I've talked your head off. I obviously am excited about all the things that I'm loving right now and sharing that information with you guys. So if you have stayed up until this point and you are not already subscribed, like, what are you doing? We talk about this stuff all the time. So if you're interested in that, I would love it if you would subscribe. Help me out. If you have not already given me a thumbs up, I would appreciate that as well. As always, it helps me out immensely. And last but not least, I am going to put another video right over here in case you haven't already seen it, but you would like to. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.